What is up, coordinators and naturals? I am just a simple new type. And in this episode, we are returning to Cosmic Era 71 as we start our coverage of Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Astray B. This is a light novel, and the first novel that we are covering on this channel, so we will see how it goes. Since it is a novel, I will try to paint a visual picture with content from the anime and the manga. In this episode, we will be introduced to Serpent Tail. Guy will obtain the blue frame, and he will test it out for the first time in battle. So let's get into this. We start with the prologue titled Jess's Report. It is a report on Serpent Tail by Jess Rabble, meaning Jess Rabble was a character planned far before he became a main character. Jess says that most people view mercs as simply hands for hire, but he tries to take a different point of view on this one. Although mercenaries work for money, their work history shows that they fight for the common man more so than the actual military. He introduces everyone to Serpent Tail, which we all love and know by now, but we learn some new things. Guy is relatively quiet and reserved outside of his missions and rarely shows his emotions. Elijah is known to the world as the one who defeated Gudvayar. We learn that he is the genetic basis for the Socius clone, and we will dive more into it in this light novel. However, Jess notes that there is something off about his death, and Elijah is quiet about the incident. The assumptions about Reed Weller constantly being drunk are confirmed here, but even while drunk, he is extremely sharp. Loretta Azure helps with planning, and her daughter Kazahana is only 10, but functions no differently than the other adults on the team. Jess tried his best to collect the truth about Serpent Tail. He asks his readers to see the truth and judge for themselves. One thing to note is that the original release or operations wasn't in chronological order, but when released, known as Tactics, it was arranged in chronological order. I will be going in the re-release order, but will say the chapter number for each. This is Tactics 01 or Operation 13, titled Guy's Jin. The team is taking on a mission for a private company which worked in transporting goods from space. Zaft started building 4 supply stations. Because of this, the military bullied them out of the sector. Guy decides to take on the job, but he wants them to prepare a customized Jin for him. Later, Serpent Tail begins their attack. All chaos breaks loose. They are using neutron jammers, making radar useless. Remember, in-jammers in the Cosmic Era are like Minovsky particle dispersion in UC. Guy is in his custom Jin. We talked about Guy's Jin in Astray B, but to quickly summarize, before getting the blue frame, he used to dispose of mobile suits for each mission. He likes to wipe his hands clean. Zaft realizes that they have no motherships. They refer to these units as ghosts. Guy's goal is to create chaos, but not engage in actual battle. He has to get in and get out quick. Elijah watches on stunned at how fast Guy moves. In his words, he says, "I'll just have to pray that none of the enemies are capable of catching up to him." One just so happens to be able to keep pace with Guy. It happens to be an orange Jin. If you remember from our coverage of CE71, Miguel is a part of the La Crusette team and the first person that Kida Yamato kills. He is also voiced by TM Revolution. Miguel introduces himself to Guy. He has heard of his name and knows that he is with the La Crusette team. He's going to have to engage in battle, unfortunately. The two go in for a singular attack, like a duel. Guy is able to take out Miguel's arm, but Miguel penetrated Guy's cockpit. Miguel yells, "I win." Guy opens the cockpit and bails. He sarcastically says, "Yeah, I guess you win." Guy's Jin is on a collision course directly towards the Xeon generator. When Miguel realizes this, it is too late. Guy's Jin crashes and explodes the generator. Serpent Tail completes their mission. When drifting in space, it is near impossible to shoot a human. He calms himself and controls his breathing to save oxygen. Once the fight dies down, Xeon leaves. Guy waits for it to be quiet before calling his teammates for a pickup. Tactics 2, Operation 6. Goldframe. As the war continues, the people of Heliopolis will have their world turned inside out. Chaos is taking place in the colony as it is being attacked. The people of Morganrot are trying to secure the gold, red, and blue frame. One man helping out is dressed in black, is wearing a helmet, and commanding all the Morganrot engineers. They have access to Dual Gundam's bazooka and might need to use it to blast their way out. They start copying data from the 3 machines, but the man dressed in black climbs aboard the gold frame. Just like Kida in the 2nd episode of Gundam Seed, as the gold frame boots up, he takes out the keyboard and begins calibrating the operating system to his needs. He types with speeds that no natural can keep up with. He completes the calibration and closes the cockpit while doing the mobile suit equivalent of revving up the engine. In previous episodes, we talked about the authentication process when using a weapon. A mobile suit's hand is like a USB drive. It has to go through with a handshake and authenticate before actually connecting. A mobile suit's hand is like a USB connection to a weapon. It has to follow all the protocols before being able to use the weapon. Because of this, an Alliance mobile suit just can't pick up a Zaft mobile suit weapon and begin using it. It wouldn't be able to authenticate. Goldframe, as well as the other P units, units have a special plug that allows them to use Zaft and Alliance weapons, mainly used for testing purposes. This allows the Goldframe to use the dual Gundam's bazooka. The man aims up and tells everyone to move out of the way. He doesn't give too much time though and immediately blasts a hole through the ceiling. He flies off and tells the Morgenrot engineers to launch blue and red when they are ready. We learn that Zaft has learned that Heliopolis has been working with the Alliance to create a new line of mobile suits. The man recognizes Heliopolis' position in Orb. While working with the Alliance, Orb stole the data to create their own Astray line of mobile suits. This attack currently puts them in a situation that could make Orb enemies of both Zaft and the Alliance. But he says that the Astray program is designed to give the people of Orb power, at least enough power to fight back when their neutrality is at stake. But out of fear, Orb planned on destroying the Astray project. But the mysterious man plans on ignoring those orders and taking the units in secret. The attack has begun on Heliopolis. They must get P1 and P2 out of there fast, but it is looking grim. The Goldframe must get out of there now. However, the right arm suddenly begins short-circuiting. The man wonders if it is because they fired off an Alliance weapon with a non-Alliance mobile suit. His adapter is supposed to allow them to use Alliance weapons, but they never actually tested it. It could have been corrupted by the Alliance. But there isn't really any time to test this theory. He whips out the keyboard once again and begins programming. He detaches the right arm to prevent the corruption from spreading to the rest of the mobile suit and then makes his escape. As he makes his escape, he runs into a Mobius mobile armor. He knows of the Goldframe, which means that he is aware that these units are to be destroyed. The Mobius tells him to hand over the Goldframe immediately. The man says, to think that just because you're righteous, I would simply obey your commands. So this is the state of Orb Motherland today. In reality, this world isn't a place where such naive logic would be accepted. Just because you're righteous doesn't mean you'll be able to survive. He's more concerned over the current state of Orb than obeying orders from these people. He takes out his beam saber and destroys the Mobius. We learn that this man is none other than Rondo Gina Sahaku. As he leaves Heliopolis, both the Junk Guild and Serpent Tail make their way towards the wreckage. Tactics 3, Operation 19, Serpent Tail with Earth Alliance. There was a satellite that was once operated by the Alliance, but Zaft has taken control of it during a battle. They intend to transport the satellite from the L4 point to the L5 point and plan on converting it to a military base to help defend the plants. It was originally a mining satellite. Even though it is now useless to the Alliance as a mining resource, they still don't want it in the hands of Zaft and are making plans to retake the satellite. Their attempts failed because it was well fortified by mobile suits. Elijah doesn't understand why the Alliance wants to hire them for this mission. Is it just because they have mobile suits and they don't? It still doesn't make them superior simply because of mobile suits. Guy is blunt with Elijah and says it has nothing to do with mobile suits. The Alliance simply doesn't want any more of their own men dying trying to retake the base. The Alliance thinks they are expendable because they are mercs. Guy doesn't really seem to mind because this will give him a good opportunity to test out the blue frame. Like Gundam Seed Astray R, Astray B is filling in the gaps of what happened in between the original Gundam Seed Astray manga. To see how Guy obtained the blue frame, be sure to check out our complete coverage of the Astray manga. Nova is still in the process of being transported from L4 to L5. They hop on an Alliance ship and head towards their next mission. They head out towards the enemy and begin their battle. Elijah is rocking his Elijah's Jin. Not too long after the battle begins, Guy realizes that his power is draining really fast. His weapons are powerful, but if he isn't careful, he will be a floating brick soon. He starts using his Engelstellung, which is what they call Sea Whiz in the Cosmic Era. He immobilizes a Jin and then finishes the job with the beam rifle, but he is now out of energy and the rifle is useless. Another Jin approaches. He fires the Engelstellung and then rushes in with his Schneider combat knife. He attacks and knocks the bazooka out of the Jin's hand. He takes the bazooka and stabs the Jin. Another Jin rushes in and Guy swiftly uses the bazooka and takes it out. He is really liking the bazooka. As he is fighting, he starts to brainstorm ways to upgrade the blue frame to make it a better mobile suit. The battle waged on, but in the end, Guy went up against Mikhail Coast, aka the Doctor, and a high mobility type Jin. In the end, the mission is a failure, but that is a story for another time. And that will do it for this episode. We are finally closing out what remains of CE71. After we finish covering Astray B, we will have covered everything for CE71. Next time, Guy tests out a new beam rifle with the blue frame. He will also add a new sensor to the unit that removes the famous V-fin look. But that will do it for now, new types. Remember to go read a book once in a while. Peace.